Before I begin, several Palestinian families have reached out to me on Tumblr and asked me to share their campaigns. So here they are. All of them are down below in my link tree. Please give what you can if possible. Hello everyone. I know it's been like months since my last video, or at least my last video essay. Sorry about that. I don't like to force myself to make videos, and I really couldn't think of anything to talk about, so I just didn't. Before I start dissecting the racial implications of the Veggietales universe, that's a real sentence, I thought I'd give some life updates, cause why not? I'm probably gonna go on hiatus again after this. If you wanna just get right into it, timestamps. Okay, so, first of all, I'm back in school again as of writing this, and by school I mean college. I'm an adult, surprise, surprise. Anyway, this semester is going to be particularly interesting for me, well, it's November, so this semester has been particularly interesting for me because I'm a teaching assistant for genetics. Basically, that means that I sit in a class that I already took, help people with assignments and studying, and maybe sometimes grade stuff for a generous 1.2K. I'm recording this on November 12th, and tomorrow they have an exam, and I had to teach a lot of people how to do a 3-point test cross, and luckily that is my specialty. So, I've been on a roll lately. It's been doing wonders for my self-esteem. Also, and I've been saying this a lot, but I'm thinking about making a lore video for my OCs. Probably like 10 people will watch it, but I'm fine with that. If there's anything you think I should address in said video, please let me know. Actually, I've been kind of mentally stable for like a few months straight. I don't know why, but one day I just randomly woke up and decided life is worth living, sort of. It feels kind of wrong to be happy when the world is literally on fire, and originally when I wrote the script I said, yeah, I've been feeling pretty happy lately, but then Trump got elected and it didn't feel right to put that in there. You know, it's like that one scene from Trolls.
Really? You're finally happy? Now?
I think so.
But you know what? I'll take what I can get at this point. So, yay, mental stability. Okay, that's enough, we're jumping in. Now, I know I said that the point of my channel is for me to get over my fear of being cringe, because cringe culture is stupid, and I refuse to be associated with stupidity. But I absolutely cannot stand that Veggietales has a chokehold on me. But like at the same time, can you really blame me? There's kind of a reason why this show got popular during the pandemic.
I'm kind of busy right now.
Do you remember the time we dipped you in tar and stuck you to the backside of an angry water buffalo?
This would be the perfect moment for a high five.
Yep.
He's honking. It's part of the plan.
Nice one with the lights, Bob.
My pleasure. For the next song, maybe I can drive into the river!
Yeah! Drive into the river, Bob! Oh, drive into the river, Bob!
Push the red button.
Huh? Okay. Hey, my wing! I need those!
Not where you're going, you don't.
What?
You're not going to sing, are you? Couldn't you just play your harp and I'll throw things at you? Oh.
Who are you? I'm from the IRS, and I've come to attack Shark.
Don't you remember? Snorkeling in the Nile, 3 square meals a day, plenty of exercise. Oh, it was paradise. We were in slavery. Nothing is perfect.
I will forever be salty that this show was not my idea. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about the Talking Vegetables show where they preach Jesus to 5-year-olds? Have you ever considered that it's actually a show about a man who desperately wants to make the world a better place, and all he has to do that are his super talented neurodivergent best friend and his amateur writing skills? It takes a little while for them to find their footing, but they slowly start to build a team, and as they find their rhythm, the show gets bigger, better, and more popular. Now, he doesn't always get along with the crew behind the show. They're his friends, of course, but most of them aren't very competent outside of acting, and it causes this guy constant stress. He loves working on the show, telling stories and helping children, but his team is so dysfunctional, it's ridiculous. Not to mention that his best friend and co-host, the centerpiece of this entire series, has his own ideas on how the show should be run and starts taking some creative liberties as the show goes on, which annoys Guy because he liked how things were back in the 90s when he was in charge and the show was in its golden age. He's salty that his plans get brushed aside every single time and they end up doing some wacky thing like Western Bible stories. When he eventually airs these grievances to his best friend, he is, quite frankly, flabbergasted. He thought this was their show. He was under the impression that they were on the same page and is upset that that's how he feels. And it's in this moment that Bro realizes that he has truly lost the plot. He's so focused on putting good out into the world that he completely forgets that he is literally living his dream. He's literally making a whole ass TV show that teaches kids to have a healthy relationship with Christianity, and you know who got him there? His friends. They helped him with producing 2 movies, moving to cable, touring the country, and going across the second dimension. His best friend does get self-absorbed in his own stardom, but at the end of the day, he adores Guy to death, and everything he does is to help him accomplish his simple goal of making the world a better place. And so eventually, Bro allows himself to loosen up a little. He lets himself laugh at his friend's antics. He starts taking on more roles that are outside his comfort zone. He makes an effort to socialize with his crew, and he's generally a lot calmer now. Things that would have sent him into an anxiety attack just a few years ago suddenly don't bother him anymore. He won't let it because this show is his everything, and he's so grateful that he has been blessed with the opportunity to do what he loves with the people he loves more than anything. Take a wild guess who my favorite character is. Okay, I feel like by now anyone who's not on board with me talking about this show as if this level of depth was intended has already jumped ship, and I'm left with either my friends or people who truly fuck with me. If you're not having fun so far, it's okay, you can leave, I'll see you next time. For everyone else, I'm just gonna make this video unhinged, cause why not? Okay, so to talk about racism in the Veggietales universe, we first have to clarify what racism is in this universe. In our world, racism is based on skin color and ethnicity, and it leads to everything from people being made fun of for features they were born with, to horrific crimes being committed against black people and other people of color. Now, obviously things in most kids' shows never get that extreme, which means that racism in this world and racism in that world are not the same thing. Not that it's not as extreme, it's just literally not the same thing. My point here is that there are some things in this universe that would be racist in our world, but aren't in theirs, like when Jean-Claude paints himself red to look like Bob in the episode King George and the Ducky. Like, I raised an eyebrow to that at first, but honestly I don't think that's a crazy thing to do in this universe. Blackface has a very violent history here, and that's why it's so offensive, but I don't think that the same thing is going on in that universe. I don't think that there's tomato Jim Crow, okay? That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I'm asking as if this video has any level of sense to it. Okay, let's start off with something light. In the early seasons, I guess the show doesn't have seasons. In the early era of the show, there's a running joke where multiple characters call Larry a pickle, either on accident or on purpose.
Baby pickle.
It's a cucumber.
Oh.
It's just kind of a silly little thing, but in Josh and the Big Wall, well, let me show you.
Did you hear that, Jean-Claude? The little pecan says we have to leave. I'm a cucumber. You can never get over a giant worm, tiny pecan. Yes, tiny pecan. You are not a mighty deer. You are just a baby pecan. I'm a cucumber.
Now, in universe, these people are acting out a story. We're basically watching a show within a show. But I don't think that was in the script. It's like when you're watching a Darn Man ripoff video about racism and the acting is just a little bit too good, you know?
Ryan did nothing wrong. I'm the one that hit your car.
And like I said, honey, I know you didn't do it. There's a little black devil. He did it. You better hope you can fix it, boy. If you don't, I'm gonna call the police and have you arrested. You're gonna end up in jail sooner or later anyway.
And to be honest, I feel like most of these stories, especially in the early seasons, are like half improv. Like, for most of these stories, the characters are just playing roles that were written for them, and as the show goes along, they start expanding their horizons and doing whatever. That's how I read it. Anyway, the pickle comments are kind of relentless for a while, but as the show goes along, they kind of phase out, you know? Not completely, but they become few and far between by the 2000s era. Now hold on to that thought, because we're gonna come back to it in a second. Because first, you have to look at the polyamorous gay men that Alexi drew. Oh, and also my friend Gio drew Servant as a cat boy. The stuff that I've been allowing to slide since the May Dress video is actually horrendous. Like, what? Roll film. Now, I used to believe that in the Veggietales universe, tomatoes were considered bottom-tier vegetables. Bob tends to be like the butt of every joke because he's Phil Vischer's Sona and bro likes to torture himself, I guess. It makes the show very hard to watch at times because I stan Bob so hard. This guy is constantly catching strays because he's the only one with any sense around here, and sometimes they do come off as microaggressions, like, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with episode 4. There's a bit where Mr. Lunt can't tell if Bob is sitting or standing, and it's supposed to be like a little joke about how he's animated. Oh my gosh, it's almost midnight. But like, Lunt is also a stout vegetable. What do you mean you can't tell? Now that is pretty tame, but it's just because I didn't want to start with the fact that in the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything movie, he says this.
Hey, I've seen that on TV. You can cut a can with it and still slice a tomato.
I just feel like that's an insane line to include when the only tomato you know is sitting 8 feet away. Like, you couldn't have just said an eggplant or something? Those are less soft than tomatoes, and you guys don't know an eggplant, so the joke works better. Moving on to this World Vision partnership promo thingy, right? Larry's making a card for a child, a human child, mind you, and he throws in a little joke. Sounds harmless, right? The joke goes! Why couldn't the plane take off? Because the pilot was a tomato. Now, Larry has poked fun at Bob like this before, but something about it feels a little off here. Like, Bob seems offended and Larry tells him that it's funnier in Spanish.
Porque el piloto era un tomate.
Personally, I'm not convinced. In the DVD special, Let Us Love One Another, Larry dresses up as a lettuce, which makes Bob visibly uncomfortable. And then later, Larry said that he loves Bob, and he would love him even if he was a lettuce, in a tone that implies that lettuces and tomatoes can't love each other in this universe?
But if I were a lettuce, I would still love you, even though you're a tomato. 'Cause I love you, bro.
Why would that matter? Cross-vegetable relationships have never once mattered. So, why would it matter here? Is it like a BLT joke? I'm genuinely confused. I'm taking this like so seriously. In the episode Mo and the Big Exit, they're trying to portray like the plagues on Egypt. You know, like the gnats and the frogs and the water turning to blood, that stuff. And tell me why their bright idea was using tomato juice instead of blood. Bob shows up briefly just to faint at the sight of it, which is deranged. Now, it should be noted that in this universe, the fruits and vegetables that they eat are not the same as the fruits and vegetables that are sentient. Mike Naraki said so himself in the Duke and the Great Pie War commentary. They don't commit cannibalism on the regular, their world is just really weird. Okay, but like here's why this is confusing, right? In the Bob's Vacation short, Larry leaves Bob to house sit for him, and through wacky misunderstandings, all the veggies end up at Bob's house and they order pizza. They are going to eat pizza with tomato sauce in Bob's own home when he's not there. But the thing is, even when he does get there, he doesn't even blink at the fact that they're eating pizza. He just talks to Larry about other things. And then later he says this.
See, now that wasn't so bad, was it?
I guess not. But you know, I still have pizza stains on my sofa.
Well, now it's time to hear from Jimmy and Jerry Gord.
So this man has pizza stains on his couch that he can't get out. Imagine his family were to visit or something and he has to explain that. Like, sorry mom, my non-tomato friends came over and well, you know. But what I'm saying is, why is that okay and this isn't? You know, why is Bob just totally nonchalant about having tomato stains in his couch, but seeing tomato juice made him faint on the spot? It just makes me wonder, was that, like, was that sentient tomato juice? Where the fuck did they get that from? You know, I used to think that the tomato juice came from Bob, and that he fainted because, you know, he got lightheaded and stuff. I don't know. Moving on. In Abe and the Amazing Promise, people keep asking him if he's sunburnt or blushing because his skin is red, which, like, first of all, why are we commenting on people's appearances? Second of all, do you guys not know what tomatoes are? And that's when it clicked. They actually might not. Stay with me now. Think about it. For the longest time, Bob is like the only tomato on the show. So I don't think that these people realize that they are low-key doing a lot out here, especially since Bob tends to just not react to any of this stuff most of the time. Additionally, and I may or may not talk about this more later, but these vegetables are like really stupid, like collectively. Like, everyone in this universe is just straight up born with a pea-sized brain. Not actual pea size, but like, you know. So I think that these comments are based on a lack of education, which is kind of how it works in our world too, but like, let me cook. I think that tomatoes are rare in the Veggietales universe, sentient ones anyway, and these people genuinely do not know how to act. We see other peas, we see other gourds, we see other asparaguses, we see other carrots. We never see other tomatoes until very, very late in the show. Cucumbers might also be rare, not as rare since we do eventually see other cucumbers, but hear me out. Larry is the star of the show in universe. He's a talented actor, dancer, singer, he can play any instrument you need him to, he's kind of an acting prodigy. He's also a lot more social than Bob, and this might be why as the show goes along, they take it easy on the pickle jokes. Now that they've all worked with Larry, they know what is and isn't appropriate. Unlike with Bob, who just kind of rolls his eyes and keeps it pushing. Now, like I said earlier, the sentient fruits and veggies are not the same as the edible ones. However, I do think that eating vegetables in general is considered a little bit taboo. You know what I mean? Especially if you know somebody. Like, these people generally don't eat vegetables, except for tomatoes. And maybe that's part of why they don't know how to act around Bob. Bob clearly doesn't mind them eating tomato-based products, even though he doesn't. I mean, like I said, he was pretty neutral to the fact that they were eating pizza in his house. And it is definitely pizza with tomato sauce, there's no doubt about that. Now, this theory does kind of fall apart when you consider that sometimes these comments are made about the peas as well, and those fuckers are everywhere.
Oh, that's what I get for working with peas!
But those are so few and far between that I debated whether even to bring it up. Plus the peas tend to bring chaos wherever they go, so it's pretty deserved. But what about Petunia? She's the only rhubarb on the show and she never gets comments like this. To be honest, I think it's because she passes for an onion. Like, this is what the onions look like.
Hi, editing Lasso here. So apparently I just entirely forgot about the plot to the Duke and the Great Pie War episode.
Go back to your own kingdom, rhubarbarian!
How many rhubarbarians does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many rhubarbarians? What's a light bulb?
I don't know, but if I did, I'm sure it would not change my negative opinion of rhubarbarians.
Although it's not actually about her being a rhubarb, it's about her being from, like, a certain region. So, technically, it's not even what we're talking about. I don't know, man. I'm analyzing Veggietales. I'm fighting a losing battle here. You know, let's just wrap things up.
So, maybe being an actual vegetable helps her? I don't know. I never said I was gonna come up with the perfect theory here. I just said we were gonna talk about it. I just said that we were gonna unpack this shit. And I did. So I don't actually have to write a conclusion paragraph. I'm just gonna stop talking. Phil Vischer and Mike Naraki, if you happen to be watching this, please do not be watching this. Please, I need to understand the lore of this universe. And yes, I watched the behind-the-scenes commentary. I know that most of this was made up along the way. And I know you guys have contracts and stuff, but like, just tell me if I'm right, okay? Like, just let me know if the math is mathing, because I'm not done unpacking all of this. I've had this bottled up for almost a decade now.
Besides, I'm not sure I know a good joke.
Well, you've come to the right place. Try this one. What did the hot dog say to the bun during the race?
I don't know, Larry. Well, what did the hot dog say to the bun?
Time to catch up. Get it? Catch up? Catch up?
The Tomato Toastmasters of tomorrow will not find a joke about ketchup funny.
This video's a fucking mess. Social medias are down below. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.